All right. All right. I'm pretty fucking stoned. We'll see. We'll see how this all turns out. I'm gonna wait a little bit, just like preparing some stuff, preparing the tablet, preparing all my Zigbee stuff, I guess. Um, so we'll see when people trickle in, if any people trickle in, really. We'll see how we're gonna continue. How we're gonna continue on this little endeavor. All right. God damn it, I have many USB devices plugged in. I have like a Zigbee dongle, I have a Zigbee sniffer, I have a Zigbee client device, I have like Wi-Fi, keyboard, tablet, power, my poor 13-inch computer. That's the problem with embedded, and I brought all my switches to my lab. All right, let's jump in. I don't know who was here yesterday, but what I'm doing, I have a Zigbee dongle connected to my Linux computer, and I have a power plug that I want to pair, and I want to sniff the pairing key negotiation because I'm not able to have this little guy, which I program, do the same. So this guy is able to pair with the power plug, or rather the other way around, but it's not able to negotiate a key, and it seems pretty weird to me. And that was a while ago. That was like before Christmas. I don't really remember much. So let me quickly get my tablet sorted. Um, nope, it's 10. Yeah, so we're here, and then there we go. And then we should be able to go to the tablet. And I think you can see my tablet. This is where we left off yesterday. On this ticket 0067 that I've been managing with my tool doc manager. And we stopped. We have 2 ChatGPT searches, which I'll have to... God damn it, was my mouse so weird. Which we now have to import into the ticket and then start messing with the Zigbee to MQTT that we recorded. So because I'm not fully sure where we left off, what I'm going to do is like, where did we leave off? I mean, this thing doesn't know that it's the next day, or maybe it kind of knows. I don't know, but I think that's clear enough as a prompt. So we have a bridge request verification report step, and we have a diary. So what we can do, if we go back to our little Zigbee project folder, we can bring up the bridge request verification report step 9, which we created yesterday, and kind of go over it with the red pen. I see that the tables are rendered like shit, but that's what I'll do. So as we've seen yesterday, I spent most of my time just like reviewing these documents on my tablet. So you should see like a mirror of that on screen. And then let me just bring up the camera a little bit. So here you can see me basically working on my tablet. And hey, Elemental Magic's card game, how you doing? It's all a little bit cramped over here. All right. So I don't really remember what we're doing. I guess I disconnected the whole thing. There we go. So I'm going to try to catch up and see where that leads me. Because I remember we were able to interact with zigbee to MQTT, which was running in Docker Compose. My computer crashed, so we'll have to restart everything. And this thing, there was one endpoint that it wasn't able to trigger. Then there's the health that was subscribed to something else. And these are the commands that we were using to kind of interact with the device, right? And I kind of want to start turning this into a CLI tool, just so that it's easier to query it. I think this is a good way to start, even though these are commands that probably we won't need. I'm being very very systematic because I know I'm going to build many Zigbee projects in the future. So it's less about taking the shortest path to connecting the Zigbee power plug, and rather spending the time to understand and build some good tooling. So we can see there's like a post-mortem number 4. Isn't that what we were looking at? This is the bridge report. And then we have a post-mortem validation, which, I don't know, it's just like kind of, I guess, of a timeline. So I'm going to do this. We had 2 searches in ChatGPT yesterday. And I think I kind of forgot what one of them is about Go libraries to do capture, right? And then the other one is about the other one's about killer bee. So we can build T-Shark to do some sniffing, and I'm going to import this. And then I'm going to import the other one, which is, what was the question that I asked here? And then there's killer bee. All right, so I'm going to save both documents here. Zigbee sniffing, MD, paste the second document, and then paste the first one. And those I'm going to import. And if we look at the Go markable stream, I actually have to not lose track of what I'm doing. I have here the import and the import of both the Go library and the killer bee stuff. I'm not sure if the killer bee stuff is exactly what I want. I think this is like, you see the main problem as I was streaming yesterday and I didn't write anything down to what I was thinking about these different things. And I have a really hard time today remembering what this was all about. I think this was about the PCAP capture sniffing Go libraries. So this is a parallel project. We're probably going to make maybe a different ticket for that. And import those files. So we're going to start a wrong keyboard shortcut. We're going to start a second codex, actually. We're going to say create a doc manager ticket 0068 Zigbee sniffing. Import the document temp zigbee sniffing.md. I think that's what I called it. Zigbee sniffing.md. Using doc manager import file -- file temp zigbee sniffing ticket ... Then create an implementation plan of a Go sniffer and PCAP decoder design. Design document for a Go sniffer and PCAP decoder as a CLI. Be very detailed and thorough, and save in the new ticket and upload to Remarkable. And then we're also going to say keep a frequent detailed diary of your research and investigations. Um, and I wonder if we had already started writing anything in terms of code. No. And um, that was the ticket from yesterday. What was Esper again? Oh, I think that was like my ESP tool. Anyway, so uh, do we have a Go tool in here? Okay. The tool will be under Zigbee. All right, so we're going to let this run. It's going to import the file. It's going to read it while it's importing it, right? I'm actually not sure the imported file in full. I hope that that's enough. And here in this previous thing, which was interacting with the thing over MQTT, I think we're gonna, it would be good to have a CLI tool that basically the LLM can use to verify that things are working well. So I'm going to say design a Go CLI tool that we can use to interact with the Zigbee network commands, but also listening to it with verbs and flags. See read the output of um, be thorough and cover all the functionality we will want, which doesn't mean anything, but it will just like cause it to be a little bit more creative, I hope. Save the design, the extensive design doc in the ticket. Upload to Remarkable. Continue keeping your diary. So far, by the way, we were at 50% of a context window for all the work we did yesterday, which was mostly just like seeing, can we connect to the dongle? Can we start the network? Can we like get some health and stuff like that? So the next thing we'll do is a design for command line tool, implement that so it actually covers what we did yesterday, and then start using the command line mosquito commands to not only discover or interact with our power plug, but at the same time to create equivalent command line tooling, right? So that way I will interleave trying out new functionality with building the CLI to go with it straight out. That way it's already validated. I don't have to remember to do it later on. And then let me actually give them full access. You have full access now. Try again. Continue. And yeah, it's just mostly a way for me to be less confused when I come back and be like, I have something that's like half done. I'm just going to advance in a way where everything's like kind of synchronous. Because I also don't really know the end goal of what I'm doing now. A, because I'm stoned, and B, because mostly it's about building tools for interacting with Zigbee, so that in the future I can like one-shot all my Zigbee apps basically. And I also want to build like a control for my lamps and being able to debug that so that the model can basically debug it, right? Like I'll say, if it has good debug tools to like sniff and interact with devices, be it maybe with just the power plug, maybe that's enough already. But maybe for lights as well, then I can kind of just like throw my queries at it, right? Say like, hey, please make me a web UI to control with my lights with scenes, and then it will just build it. Um, so there's that, and then what I actually want to do through all these CLI verbs is actually wire up a JavaScript VM that has that functionality, because then not only can it use these commands to interact with stuff, but it can just write JavaScript programs that run in a fully controlled VM, which is really nice. So it's a little bit of a weird pattern. I think this is really the future of where stuff is going. It's really weird to see everybody running in kind of the opposite direction, which is models are good at code, so I'm going to let them build all the code. And however, I do want to have like influence over the abstractions, but in like the most concise manner that I can think of. Um, and I don't know why I found this to work pretty well, what I'm doing right now, which is like starting to build up from step by step, right? Like currently we haven't written any code yet. We've just been studying like command line verbs, interacting with the system, collecting playbooks and logs. And now I'm going to start porting them into a CLI tool just to make sure that I slowly like simplify the abstractions that I'm using from Docker and Mosquito and like topics, and having to listen to different topics to something that's both consistent instead of the inconsistency that we're seeing with the Mosquito, or just like the Zigbee to MQTT bridge, which will like any inconsistency will really cost a lot in terms of inference. Because usually fixing one error is like more tokens than just getting it right in full. So we can see that on the right, it has started making a design for a sniffer for Zigbee. And then on the left, it also finished. So already, right, like parallelizing more wouldn't really help, because I really need to review these two. I don't really know what I want to design here. But all of this like very careful kind of, I don't know if you can call it careful, all of this like minutia where you're like, why are you doing this when you want to write an app, is just like, I want to get to the point where I can just one shot the app and not worry about it, because all the apps that have to do with Zigbee are going to be some like the useful part of it will be like some kind of web UI that I know Opus can one shot. However, it's the backend that needs to be robust and like semantically clear. So now that we have this like zig control design document, I think that's what we're going to look at now, because we haven't really looked into the sniffing part. But as this is now going to be implementing stuff for quite a while, um, that's when we'll be able to look at the sniffing part and just like, delegate a part of our brain to this. So I'm back on my tablet and I'm going to review this document about zig control. So we want a Go CLI tool that interacts with Zigbee to MQTT over MQTT to send commands, query state, and listen to streaming events. Not fully sure about this formulation, because I actually want the app to be interacting with Zigbee, not with like a specific tool. But it's called Zig Control, so uh, I think this is a good point to start. We want to do jumps that are not too big. Like if I was in the mood of exploring these tools like models a little bit more, I would do big jumps. But here, I'm going to start with controlling Zigbee to MQTT because we have we have bash commands to do it, and then maybe later on design an API that works well for Zigbee. So this is built over Cobra and Glazed. So Glazed does the command parsing. So I'm going to start writing this down to I'm going to write this down. I'm going to say glazed is also for command parsing, just registering is over Cobra. So just like tiny little notes. I'm writing them down here right now because since I'm talking, I forget to write in the document. So verb noun flags, that's cool. Provide an explicit mapping. So we're gonna have like bridge level, device level operations. Cool. I was looking at this right down here, and then I think you can see my pen, right? Kind of delayed. Oh, because it's up here. Yeah, it's not great. Group management, listen, raw, yeah, whatever. Global flags. So this. Name broker profile output. Glazed fields. So these are their own layer. Glazed layer. Glazed layer. Okay, so we're gonna add that because that's important. Glazed layer. Make a custom zigbee glazed layer with flags, broker, base, topic, TLS, yeah, file, cert, key, QoS, timeout. So there's that. Then if we go back to reading this, let me look. I don't really know the commands. I think those are like directly mapped onto um, the mosquito topics and all of that. But I think this looks pretty decent in terms of having this, and then maybe we'll use Opus to add a little bit nicer documentation. Actually, this is something we can start here. That's important. It's like every CLI verb will come with like a little bit of documentation. And then structured output. That's cool. Streaming output. That's cool too. Environment variable. No. Whatever. Require until dash dash yes. Device remove, bridge restart. Okay, sure. Enforce max permit duration. Okay, cool. Uh, whatever. Dual mode commands is something that outputs like human output, which can reduce the number of tokens, and also machine output, which makes it easier to do scripts. But since we're going to add a JavaScript VM after that, this doesn't really matter. So this is cool. All right. Then update the implementation plan. Then create detailed tasks in the ticket and implement them one by one, keeping a frequent diary, checking off the task, and committing to Git work it. So we're going to start building it right now, right? Like we did some kind of like upfront design. Some right. I only wrote like 3 points, but those are pretty important points as we go forward. Otherwise, like for example, this thing of having a specific flag layer that's going to be very important later on, or at least it will keep things a little bit cleaner. Then these guys, maybe like organization, it's one file per verb, one directory per group, one root.go to register the group per group directory. So I'm gonna add this there as well. So here I'm going to create a skill after that to how to create glazed commands based on I've started to just like building up skills. Probably I'll have too many skills. Um, I'll probably have too many skills soon, but I kind of want to a lot of the tasks I do starting to be a little bit more systematic about saving the workflows. I'm not sure. Maybe I should have done that a long time ago. Maybe it's so easy to prompt that it doesn't really fully matter. I think skills are good though. Uh, I think skills are really good actually. Um, so this is going to take a while, right? Like I don't think this will be I'm gonna guess that this is going to be like a full context window. So we're at 40% now. It has gotten pretty good at compacting. So my heuristics are a little bit off, but I think we'll end up at like 60, 50, 60 after it rolls over. So it's gonna take like 15 minutes at least or so. Which is good because now we have like this other sniffing document to look at, right? And it uploaded it on February 2nd. So if we go back here, we now have February. It's not in the projects. Now it's going to be under the AI folder, which is the default location of all of these. And then here we have the Zigbee sniffing document. I was showing this on the Remarkable. To go back, I have a folder AI 2026, February 2nd, and then the name of the ticket. I can go in there and then I just had like the upload of this markdown document. So now I can review it. And this is about building a sniffer. And we need a repeatable CLI first workflow to capture over the air Zigbee traffic and analyze it programmatically without constantly driving Wireshark by hand. The current NRF sniffer workflow is Wireshark centric and not easily automated. So I'm not sure what ZEP UDP is. Optional live streaming to STD out for Wireshark. Okay, capture from the Zero sniffer. Okay, that's cool. What's ZEP UDP? So here again, what's ZEP UDP? I'm just gonna write them. I'm not gonna start it. Like I'm not in a rush. I'm gonna go back here. Maybe the main thing is that I have fun and that I'm um, being able to do good thinking. Like just how do you call it? Not be overwhelmed, not be caught in the like agent coding loop. I just like chilling. Um, so explicit non-goals because there's libraries for it, right? And I think I had to generate all of this already. I have like a weird gut feeling that I've already done this in the past. Or maybe I just read about it. Oh, I did it in C++. Right. That was when I was struggling with it. That's when I was struggling with it. I was starting to fuck with it on the device itself, I think. Let's go see. Okay, so it's good to know that that the ticket we were messing with back then. I'm gonna go here, just write it down. The original firmware first attempt was firmware 0031. And I'll show you now what is cool about all of this. Since I want to remember what this is all about, I'm going to say go through all the work that went into 0031 Zigbee Orchestrator, especially the related doc manager tickets and their diaries, do an in-depth analysis of the history and the stopping points, all the things that happened and why and where. I don't know. Basically, a textbook length version, technical deep dive of the diaries and the related docs. Store in a new ticket 0069. Analyze past firmware and store the document in the ticket. Keep your own frequent diary as you progress. I need to catch up on this project and know everything about it. I don't know why I'm prompting like that, probably because I'm tired and stoned. But let's have some fun. Usually I wouldn't like put so much storytelling in there. I guess I'd be much more interacting with the tool. But so you're gonna see what it's starting to do here. Because I've been using Doc Manager to study this to build this firmware. Now I can kind of like do it retroactively. So it looks like there is actually a ticket from January 5th about this orchestrator. So I kept the same numbering. At some point I lost the numbering. I do need to do something more systematic about the ticket naming. So I'm gonna keep a note in my document here as well, which I'm just gonna note ticket 0031 Zigbee orchestrator. And orchestrator. And then this is from 26th first 05, because what I can do now, right, is like I can go back to the 5th. And as you can see, I've got a bunch of Zigbee things apparently already. And then I have Zigbee 31, and I can go back and look at, for example, the diary. And so I can get a pretty good idea, even though I'm letting codex do the work now, of like what happened that day, and have it in a form that I found pretty pleasant to read. So design a real Zigbee orchestrator, right? Like I can start to catch up again, or have something written up. So apparently 0029, this was like, I don't know what that was. So I can ask it to do the same for 0029, right? I think that was just like setting up the skeleton for FreeRTOS event bus plus like streaming it over WebSocket. But that's pretty cool. And the way I'm building up this repository is just like a ton of little firmwares that build upon each other as we go forward. I got all the way to the Zigbee orchestrator. I wasn't able to let the crypto work that day. I guess a lot of stuff happened after that. And I never got back to the Zigbee. So I'm not going to read this right now because I think it's a little bit too much. I don't necessarily need all the details. I don't know what it's starting to look at here. See, it does like a bunch. Yeah, it did do like quite a bit of tickets that day. And I know I spent quite a while messing with this, and that's where I learned about all these like underlying protocols. Like there's a bunch of like funny stuff, the way these different chips communicate and how you communicate with them. And like there's just like a lot of, it felt like Bluetooth and worse. And I forgot all the details already, right? Like which is, can be kind of an issue. I think in the longer term, I'm not sure. It depends really on how much I want to do with Zigbee. Like there's only so much I can do to keep all that complexity in my head. And obviously people who build with Zigbee don't need to know all the details all the time. At some point they're just like, yeah, I know how to set up a Zigbee Arduino sketch or whatever. It's just that I want to build these tools that allow me to do the workarounds, to do like these like feedback loops with the model. And I also like the nitty gritty, I think. Uh, so we're looking at the sniffer though, right? We had something else to do. We were looking at the sniffer. Let me see. So the sniffer, if we go to February 2nd and then we go to the sniffing, we had the design for the Zigbee sniffer. I was asking what's ZP implement the full parsing of ZCL in Go. I don't think we did that. I don't think we did any Go on that day. So this was, let me see if, so yeah, it doesn't look like there's any Go in the Zigbee part. So I'm going to go here, implementing full Zigbee parsing in Go. I'm going to say no, which is good. Attacks, key recovery, or any of that, that's what we'll do later with Killer Bee, right? We'll do later with Killer Bee. Capture backends, NRF serial, ZPUDP. I'm not sure what that is. Then we have frames, we have syncs. This all looks very feature complete. We have a sniffer script. Where did it find that script? Where did that script come from? So maybe we should start. Where did NRF 820554 the core sniffer PY come from? I'm gonna ask what's NWK APS ZCL and who is parsing it if not us. So go back to these guys. Output syncs. T-Shark decoder. So that's probably where the decoding is going to be. Does detailed design. Whatever, that looks good. Layout. Capture flag. Full native. Okay. So before implementing, we might okay. So and 2. Okay, 2. I wonder if I should create the glaze scale first, or if I should here also add the read the output of glaze help build first command by redirecting to a file and reading the file in full. Update the design to use glazed writer commands for most. Dual mode to use streaming JSON and L output. No. To use glazed commands, bear writer glazed depending on needs. Update the design document with the requested information in detail and the updated design. Command structure is 1 file per verb and 1 directory with a root.go per CLI group. All right. I'm not waiting for creating the skill here. I'm just like going ahead and typing these things in manually. I've done so for like 2 years now, so, or like 1 year, I guess. I used to do these things by hand into the clipboard before. So this is adding the tasks for our zip control. So zip control on the left and then sniffer on the right. And as it's building the zig control, I think we're going to end up at 50% of the context window on the next rollover. Although we might be at much higher because they really got aggressive on the compaction, which I think is not the worst idea. And hopefully our diary or the compaction that they do, which I think is similar to the diary, allows us to survive for long times. I've been able to keep like a conversation going over like 6 context windows, and then codex got upset. I'm not sure if the model would have continued. And as we're starting to build it, I'm going to start to ask it to run the Docker Compose in the background and to run the real Mosquito so that it can start comparing things. And I didn't tell that up front. I'll probably have to test it midway when I see it starting to like write main.goes and stuff like that. On the right, I just ask for a new design just to see what glazed stuff it's going to come up with. I'll probably have to tell it to make a glazed layer as well. Maybe I could tell it to read the design doc. Actually, yeah, I could do that. Read the design doc for ticket. What ticket is this? This is 0067. To see what they chose as design around the glaze CLI. Not used to doing like 2 things in parallel on the same project all that much. And now I'm mostly going to have to wait, I think, in a way. Because both of these, I think, will go on for like 20 minutes or so. So I'm on stream. I don't know how interesting that's going to be. So we're getting like some new information on the right here about the changes. I wonder if we're going to have a layer because I pointed it at the other design document, which now mentions the layer. I wonder if it's going to be able to find them. And we have the full retrospective of the previous work. So yes to technical memo, Xerox, Park, format. Yes. All right, well, let them work. They're just like writing documents for us, and I'm starting to get a little bit overwhelmed by the 2 things in parallel, like the sniffer and the control thing. And if I start reading the previous work we did, that's going to make my brain explode. So I'm letting it do its research. Like I still trust it. At some point, I don't want to have it like research too long on its own. But that's way less dangerous than like writing code and having it iterate. That's the one. Align your choices. I wonder where it's creating them, if they're move the sniffing functionality as a subgroup of zig control so you can work in the same directory, shared code. Update your design document to align with the existing zig control. So we're not going to have it implement because otherwise they'll like start fighting with each other. Although both functionalities are very, very different, but I'm not going to start fucking with that. So now they're one after the other, but that's fine because while it's building the sniffer, we will have enough work to do to get at least the power plug recognized, like interacting with it a little bit, maybe adding more verbs, comparing it. So we rolled over with like 96%. Um, I was betting on we're going to end up at 50% when this is over, my guess. When it's over with like a validation loop. I might be off. I think I'm like pessimistic and it's going to be more than 50% because of their new compaction, but I'm not sure. This fucker doesn't know the new Go way of writing the tool chains. That's funny. It's like a crapshoot. Which version of Go it thinks it knows. What I like about Go is that it's able to like query the documentation for any package, which is nice. Oh, we're already at 81%. That's crazy. What happened there? Oh, because they read the entire docs. How did it find like 1,600 lines? That's crazy. I wonder if it's going to compact the window on the left. That was crazy. I didn't expect it to like dump down by 15% for one documentation file. That speaks for something that needs to be improved for sure. There is something weird with the glazed stuff that I prompted. I wonder actually if what version is even installed? Glaze help build first command, because it should be using the new conventions, yeah, and it still like went back to new parameter definition. So that's interesting. I'm gonna interrupt it just because I want to know. Why did you look up new parameter definition? Definition. We now use a new convention, new field. So I want to know what it found that caused it to go and eat up so much of its context window. It's like a change in API that I did, and I gave it like a much simpler API. Um, but somehow it reverted to the old one. Like it's a cleanup I need to do because currently it's all type aliases. Um, there's a lot of cleanup I need to do in my fundamental libraries. Like not a lot, but I have two big fundamentals projects going on. Um, I mean, now that I don't have a job, or like that I'm looking for negotiating some upcoming opportunities, um, I'll have a little bit more time to actually stream on this during the week. So that's going to be fun. I'll be mostly, um, I mean, that's what I do all day here. It's like basically, it's not staring at the codexes in as much as spending time on the tablet reviewing things. Right now it's Sunday evening. The edibles have kicked in, so I'm not. I'm mostly staring. Also, I'm not used to talking at the same time. Um, so where were we? Where was our main codex? So this codex here was just a full retrospective. Next steps: re-add, add, produce a shorter executive. No, upload all to tablet. So this was a retrospective on what we did before. Now we aligned the design to zig control and moved sniffing into a zig control subgroup consistent with the 0067. Uh, so I'm going to not worry about the revised design doc. We're going to wait for this. I said 50%. It's still like trying to answer a question, right? Was looked up because the custom layer uses layers, new parameter layer with parameter definitions. Oh, interesting. While fields.new is a wrapper we'll use. So the new parameter layer and new parameter definition doesn't use fields yet. So that's going to be part of our refactor on glazed here. Actually going to be fun to like maybe trigger a I wonder if I can let Manus do it. Let's try that. I never tried having Manus refactor something of mine. Clone this and replace all the new parameter definition with new field, etc. Basically carry out the recent migration to new type names. Write a detailed write-up, and I think I can link GitHub, manage connectors, GitHub. So I can go here. I thought it would have like access to all my repos. All repositories on Golems. Okay. So how does this work? I can connect apps. Oh, I see. Okay, so I can do glazed, right? It has. Why didn't it find glazed? Because it's only finding mine. No. That's so weird. Very, very weird. Did I not clone it? I have a clone of this. And these like GitHub things, they're so fucking weird. So this is definitely Vazen stuff. But see, they only go to D. What the fuck? What the fuck? Okay. Commit at regular intervals as you work. Keep. They have skills now, right? So how does that work? Maybe I can upload my add custom skills, build with upload a skill. So we can go to codex skills. And then just upload this. Curious to see if this is going to be too much. I think that's it. Create a doc manager ticket using Go Golem stock manager. And then we're gonna upload the tool chain. A lot of setup needed for Manus to work the way I want. Keep a frequent detailed diary as you work and commit it to. Now we have to wait for this to upload. All right, anyway, it did answer our question, and then here, still working, 65%. I said 50%. Like I've got a feeling that we might end up at 50%. All right, let's see if it's going to be able to refactor something like that. I don't really trust it, but who knows? And then I'm going to try with codex. So we're going to choose refactor the new parameter layer, which uses new parameter definition with the new refactor using the new type names currently aliased. This is a really messy kind of prompting. With the update the code base to remove and other old type names with the new type names. Okay. New parameter definition, new field, etc. There's a doc. Be thorough. No backwards compatibility. That's actually something I should put in Manus as well. All right, so it's setting up Go. This is also going to take a while. This is the past history. I'm gonna, yes. It's going to take a while. I don't have too much hope for this one. It's more an experiment. Gotta close this. And then where's our main one here? 62%. Yeah, we might go over 50%. Who knows? All right, and then this guy reorganized itself to follow the previous guidelines. So now we have listen state. How many of those did we have? How many of those verbs did we have? I saw it fly by before. So it was in the ticket 67, right? So that would be yesterday. No. That's weird. 31st? Okay. Oh, but the design was today. Nope. Here, sniffing. What did it upload this zig control thing? Oh, it wasn't projects. Okay, now I remember. That was something I tried, which I think wasn't like the best idea. Here we have the zig control design. We were just at status something. Device status, is that what it was? No, it was listen state. So we are at listen state. So we're down here. We're going to have listen, events, health, and raw. This one's going to be interesting. Then we have these two guys. Yeah, we're going to be at more than 50%. And then export. Okay, so that was a miscalculation of mine. What did we all write? Oh, we have all this like group management and device management. Yeah, this is going to eat the whole context window, especially to test and compile and all of that. All right, cool. So we're here for a minute or two now. Although it might be able to take bigger steps now because like the wind up, the thinking wind up is always pretty high on codex. Like it always takes like a couple of minutes to ponder like life in the universe, and if it should use the edit file tool, just like yeah, you should use the edit file tool, and then it gets going and just like spits out code. Yeah, so it already spits out both. So maybe we'll get there by the 50%. Who knows? And so once we have this command line verb, I'm going to validate it against the previous shell scripts that we had, make sure that they cover each other, make sure everything compiles, and then I'll be able to launch the sniffing implementation. And in the meantime, we'll be able to design like a JavaScript VM around it, around the existing code, and starting to write JavaScript scripts. That's where things are going to become really interesting, is being able to write custom JavaScript for different situations where I can say like, hey, put me in pairing mode for 60 seconds and then do X, and on the same in the same JavaScript VM you can also sniff or do these kinds of things. Like I don't know exactly what this will look like, and that's why we're going to spend some time on the design of that. Again, the idea being these like complicated test setups of like I want to sniff this, I want to do that, which are really useful when you want to learn a protocol as well. Because you don't really know yet what to describe. Yeah, the JavaScript stuff is like pretty useful. So scaffolded zig controls core. Next, smoke test locally with against your broker. Okay, so we're at 57%. So I was pretty spot on. Did it git commit? It did git commit. I'm gonna add the tickets though. So what I'm going to do now, yeah, it's like run the broker according to past ticket playbook. Then test against it locally, compare with the existing mosquito tests we did. Create a detailed validation report. Store all scripts you write in the scripts folder, even temporary ones, and be as detailed as a OSHA inspector in your report. Leave nothing out. Add the report to the ticket and upload to Remarkable. What am I doing here? Now we're gonna, I think, burn like 20% of our context window on just like small bug fixes, making sure the individual commands work. And here I'm starting to be like a little bit wary of do I have it test too much on its own? So I'm going to then do the test with the power plug, right? I should be able to see the power plug in my logs, which is something that I haven't prompted for at all, right? So we'll see where that leaves us. Maybe I'll try to run it a little bit by hand, even though I feel tired. So what's really useful with the smoke test and telling it to store scripts in the ticket is that I will have a whole smoke test suite by after that, which means that even if I have to like kind of understand things in more detail by myself or do my own debugging, I will have a shell script that I can use to at least get a sense of which command was it was trying to run or failed at. Because otherwise, I'd be left with like a huge codex session. I wouldn't really know what iterations it did or so. So here, the scripts plus the diary are really, really useful. They're also useful for the model itself as it starts like maybe correcting some of these scripts. If they're too long, it will keep like repeating it over and over in full. While here, it can mostly do an edit file kind of thing. Um, so I found that pretty useful to have it store everything in scripts. They're just easier to read. So here we can see that it probably just like launched it over Docker. Um, I didn't open an editor. Sometimes I have like a VS Code go with it to look at the code, and I really should, I think. Um, but my brain's not all here tonight, so maybe all of this work I'm doing is like kind of going to be counterproductive. We'll see. I think there's nothing too dangerous here. Just kind of want to make sure that I see the power plug and I kind of have something. This is where doing embedded with LLMs is nice because you do have like real world to contend with. Like if it doesn't turn on the light, then there's something wrong with your program versus being obnubilated by writing code to write code. I don't know if that makes sense, but I like this grounding in the real world to test my my vibe coding, so to say. It also only has like 512 kilobytes of RAM. I think this one has even less. So you can't fuck around with like bloat all too much either. So so that's a good protection against like vibe slop, I think as well. But really the main thing is like not working with entropic models. I think that's really key. I mean, not that you shouldn't use entropic models, but I found it incredibly hard to maintain any kind of code base consistency with them. While with GPT-5, I might struggle a bit more to get all the features done, and it's like much slower. But it like kind of never fucks shit up badly. The only times where I have it fuck shit up is like when I trust the feedback loop too much. And like here, I've never tested any of this by myself, so it could, and it's like a domain that I really don't know much about. Like I did learn my lesson. Um, like it could be like that. This is really important, and I'm just like completely missing the plot here. I wonder if it's oh, it has full access. Look at the past diary, maybe. And I know that it has a tmux, right? What is it doing in the tmux? Let's go open the tmux. That's another thing that's like nice about running mock tests in tmux is that you can just take a peek at what the model is doing. So it has a Docker compose on the right, and then what is on the right? What is on the left, and what is on the right? What is that? It's that's the zigbee to MQTT, and then yeah, this is where it can burn a bunch of its context window, just like chasing ghosts. I hope that this it will be able to figure it out. Um, but I feel like right now it's doing something stupid, and I should probably step in. But YOLO, we're on stream. We're gonna show what it's like to be tired while vibe coding. Let's see. Let's see if it's able to figure out how to run um, against against Zigbee to MQTT. And I wonder if it like has found the real dongle. Like all of these kinds of things, I'm like not sure how to look for. Like Mosquito is, I think, the broker, and then this is the thing that actually does Zigbee. It looks like these look like legit enough that it's probably found the dongle. Like I don't think it could invent this stuff on its own. It found connected device, it found the sniffer, and then it found the Sonoff Zigbee dongle here. So I think this is probably legit here. Uh, so um, so yeah, it'd be interesting to look at the at the scripts, right? Like fuck it. Oh, we are already straight in the ticket. It looks like. So we're February 1st. Zigbee sniffing, analyze past firmware, Zigbee power plug. Did we work in? This was past firmware, and then this is storing it in Zigbee 67. Okay. Sorry for the flashing. I'm not good at. Come on, shut the fuck off. All right. So we were here in our scripts, and then so start broker tmux. Tmux has session. I guess I should zoom in a little bit. Huh? There we go. Start broker. That all looks good. Run the bridge tests. It's running Docker. It's sending some Mosquito commands. And then it's doing all of that. Then it's running zig control tests where it will just go run all of these commands. That's not a lot of the commands, right? We saw that there's like many, many more. So it's really not validating all the commands. It only validated like 2 or 3. So we'll see what it's going to say here. It uploaded its report, log file names, report. It's relating the report now. So now it's going to upload it to the tablet, but also we should be able to see in. Why don't I see shit? Oh, there they are. That's weird. So this is the validation report. Scripts all stored, logs, commands executed, OSHA style, environment control, bring up, zig control validation. Yeah, so it didn't really understand my prompt. Findings and risks. So I'm going to say test all of the zig control commands exhaustively. Make sure they all work. If you need to me to turn on the power plug, please confirm help how to use, redirect to file and read in full to alert me. So we're gonna use another tool of mine, which is pretty fun. Please confirm, serve. And then when I go to a web browser, um, I can just go to port 3000, and then when the model is going to ask me something, it will like show up here as a window. So this was the past firmware. I'm going to close that. It's going to start closing codexes. So this is the tmux. We don't need it anymore. And then this is the sniffing one. We don't need it. I'm just trying to make room for the web browser. That way I know to put the power plug that I want to see over Zigbee into pairing mode. So now it's doing exhaustive. Interesting. So if we look at the exhaustive, oh, it's in the scripts folder. Validation, run exhaustive. We have bridge info, bridge devices, bridge permit joins. The permit join that I will need to have some upfront. Yeah, I don't know. Let's start 50%. That's 44, I guess. Even after running all the tests. I guess it compacts a lot when it does that. I wonder how the compaction is driven. I think it's model driven at OpenAI. I read. Oh, it definitely works pretty well. Than it did in Cursor as well. Definitely makes life a little bit easier. Although with the diary, you can really roll over without an issue. Okay. So the next task is probably going to be recognizing this power plug. I haven't been very good at keeping track of the tasks we were doing. So we imported the Go libraries for the sniffing, and then we designed and built some kind of Go tooling. Yeah, we started Zigbee to MQTT. We made a playbook and a report, and now we started design plus implement zig control, and then I want to have a playbook for using the tool and recognizing a power plug. So after it committed all of it, I'm going to ask it to write that document for me. Anything we should fix in zig control now? It's based on the validation report. It didn't look like there was something bad, but I also don't assume that there's nothing bad in there. So to put us back into the bigger context of what I'm building is now that we have the zigbee MQTT that we tested, got some modicum of success, but it's not like the nicest tool to wield. So now I created this command line tool in Go, which hasn't fully been vetted, but is probably already easier to wield. So what I'm going to do now is have a playbook of wielding this new CLI tool that we have, just to make sure that A, the power plug kind of works, and B, that the tool kind of works. And then once I get there, I'll start writing a JavaScript interface for it. Okay. Okay, yeah, whatever. Okay, so create a playbook for me to get started with zig control all the way to recognizing a power plug, requesting, joining our network successfully. I don't know much about Zigbee. Adopt a nice tutorial style with call outs for the fundamentals, full prose, paragraphs, and bullet points, and instructions. Store in ticket, upload to Remarkable. And so this document we'll use, basically go through by hand, make sure our CLI tool works. If that works, that means that the core functionality in the package folder is going to be well implemented and we can wrap it in JavaScript. Then start writing JavaScript um, tools. And then as we add more to the base package, we can add a CLI tool, and correspondingly, we can add a JavaScript wrapper, and we're going to build our way up. So the next is going to be implementing, for example, the sniffing commands. I don't know if the sniffing while sending also commands on the other side. Like if I should probably just write to have two different either zip controls running or have two different JavaScript VMs running. I think it doesn't really make sense to mix them both. So I think that's what I'll do. Maybe it makes sense to have them in both and just use like async stuff. I don't think my brain can take async design tonight though. And it's not something I would necessarily. I mean, I would trust GPT-5 to do it right, but I wouldn't trust myself to understand it. All right, so it's been uploaded to the Remarkable. So we're gonna have a look, and then we're gonna basically do the tutorial, huh? So let's go to 0067, huh? Oh wait, where is it? Is no, is it in Zigbee? Oh, zip control. There it is. Okay, so go no zip control, go run command zip control, and then I'm sorry, I can't really zoom in on this guy here. Actually, can I zoom in here? Yeah. Okay. Well, that won't really help you. So zip control, start the stack. I think the stack is still running. Where's the stack? Tmux attach T. Yeah, so that's still running. Docker PS, that's fine. We have that. Then we're going to do go run command zip control. Go run what? Oh, go run dot. Okay. Bridge, devices, broker. Actually, we're gonna do dash dash help just to see what this looks like. Okay, so it didn't. Is it using glazed? Yeah, it is using glazed, but it's not loading the the help system. Entries and initialize the help system and add a very detailed playbook. Add the playbook. To the help system as a tutorial. Also add an in-depth architecture overview guide document. We're going to continue here though. So while it's hopefully not fucking up the code too much while we're working. So broker MQTT localhost 1884 base topic. I'm kind of taking my time. That's why I'm not copy pasting. I kind of want to get a feel for it. Okay, so this actually seems to work. Probably do something pretty useful. We can test if it does something pretty useful by basically killing it over here. And now if we run it, it should be not broken. Is this because both need to be killed? Yeah, okay, so this was against Mosquito. And then this is the real Zigbee to MQTT. So here the bridge devices base topic only showed us that there's a coordinator on it. Um, then see the current device list. That's what we just did. No, so bridge devices. Okay, and then we have bridge info, right? And the bridge info, that's the mosquito thing, and then whoa, zigbee to MQTT, SSL, localhost 1183. Whoa, there's a lot of stuff. So this is all the mosquito stuff, I guess. Then we saw the devices, uh, and then we can do bridge permit join. So permit join seconds 60 output JSON. I'm not gonna do output JSON. So now I don't I never understand how to put it into pairing mode. It started blinking. Now it's blinking. Um, now it crashed. Interesting. Oh, is that because it's working on it? Yeah, I think so. Oh, it's because it's yeah. Uh, so it's in pairing mode, and I have the permit join, but I'm not sure if that will tell us how to wait for the result of the pairing join. Plug it in, hold the, so I'm reading on the tablet here. The next one, hold the physical button for 10 seconds. It's now advertising it wants to join. Watch the join event with Zig control. So we do want a watch flag for permit join, right? To be able to not exit and instead see the joining devices. So uh, hopefully we will see the plug here. Okay. So that's going to be the next thing. Add dash dash watch to permit join to wait for appearing devices until join period is over to avoid having to run two commands. Um, and then hopefully we'll be able to see our power plug. And then we can test control. So those are different profiles, right? Uh, what is it doing? Like sometimes it gets stuck like that. All right. Control C did it. Like that happened to me before earlier today. So now we do have a help system, so that's cool. Um, which means that now I can in here I can just dash dash help, or I can do go run dot and then get like a 2e for the help. So now I only have one document in here, which I guess needs to be corrected, and also once done, fix this. Um, yeah, it basically gets compiled into the binary, and then that way When I hand off the binary to an LLM, it's going to run help and it's going to find all these like embedded help pages, which are basically the way I used to do skills in the past, right? Like I would say like, hey, use glazed, and then it would like do glazed help, and then it would like kind of discover the documentation it it needed. So all of that warrants a skill. We're at the second context window here. So for those who joined yesterday, we're at 1.5 times the context window for um, I mean, we're like what 3.5 hours in. So it's not that I try to preserve them. It's just like I currently am like fascinated that the more I try to have like a systematic approach in terms of wanting to one shot stuff in the future, the less context windows I start to use. And I think there's something really deep about what language and abstraction is for. Because it's weird to build a whole ecosystem of like a JavaScript interpreter wrapping MQTT and all of that, and then writing JavaScript programs. I'm going to end up at like 2.5, three context windows while writing a single version of the program without any kind of reusable infrastructure would have taken more than that. Like it's something that weirds me out quite a bit. Um, so we'll see if that's the case with this one. This is like this. The reason I'm one of the reasons why I'm doing it so systematically is I want to try out this like JavaScript interpreter right from the get go um, approach. Uh, and I haven't worked very much today because I was like tired, but I did have Manus build like actually Opus then through chatgpt.com of all places with GPT Pro and then put it into Manus, kind of hopefully have a reusable React JavaScript IDE, um, which looked pretty good. Like if I go at the Manus, oh, by the way, we have a Manus loading. We could, we're not loading. Oh no, we do have Manus doing a refactor and we have Codex do a refactor as well. So maybe I should write those down. But this looked pretty good. I haven't tested it out, but from the screenshots I saw in here, it looked pretty decent. Let me see if there's a. Oh, it's not able to run it. Yeah, it looked pretty decent. Uh, it looked very much like what I designed with like documentation here, structured documentation, like device. I mean the stuff you're able to one shot these days is just absolutely crazy. It has like it watches the ESP32. Obviously, that's not real. But it has a console. It has like memory. It has like an event viewer. It has this. It has like a JavaScript editor with syntax highlighting and go to definition. It can insert snippets. Like it's fucking crazy, man. And this took me 3 prompts, I guess. Like I started in Opus. I said like design. I think actually I did it in Claude AI of all places. Yeah, I did it in Claude AI. This is actually completely outside of any coding tool or like traditional coding tool. Like yeah, I was like, hey, make a JavaScript. So I started make a JavaScript plus REPL plus DocPen layout and ASCII screenshot no code. It's meant to edit JavaScript snippets on my embedded devices JS VM, including JS callbacks for hardware events and stuff. So it did me this way, which then I started transforming. You can see it's like fairly close to what we just saw, but not fully. So I was like, hey, make like an insert snippet, right click button where it added the snippets thing here on the left. It has all of these work. At least I don't know if the Manus version works, but the first sketch worked for sure. The documentation in a single page is what I wanted. Then I want like a full right side tab. Like I did some bunch of stuff here, and then I think this was the first version that it like produced. Yeah, kind of crazy. I mean, obviously, right? And then, but because what's interesting about the Manus part, you could say, well, it looks exactly like the Opus one. What's special about it? Because it went through ChatGPT Pro and then came back, it's uh, it's pretty interesting that the CSS style stayed safe, right? Um, which means because I explicitly asked ChatGPT Pro to extract the CSS into a reusable, overwritable package form. So it really is like a testament to how good these things are. And then I designed like an HTTP protocol. So if you look at what I did, right, like I started with ASCII screenshots because they're fast to generate and they give me everything I need to know about the UI. So I iterate on those until they look like what I wanted. So I muck about with those. And then when I'm happy, I just say implement. Then it does like all of this stuff. So that it ends up having like, man, it's fucking crazy. And you can like insert snippets. Those are all the snippets on the left, right? Um, I mean, there's bugs. It depends it at the file, not where the cursor is. Like whatever. Um, and then I just made like an API because I actually wanted to implement it. And I think Manus then built both the server, like the backend, and then the front end using this npm package that ChatGPT created. And the thing that's fun is that the ESP32, like this little dude here, is actually then running this JavaScript VM and exposing this over HTTP. So that's kind of like the grand scheme of things of where I'm going. It added a dash dash watch now to the Zig control bridge thingy. So we're gonna have a look at this. I don't know what I was talking about. Um, so we're gonna do go run help bridge broker permit join dash dash help, and there should be like a dash dash watch now. Yeah, so we're gonna use 120 seconds, and then we're gonna do dash dash watch. And now I'm gonna put my plug into hopefully request mode. Okay. I don't know if it's joining or not. Like it's now it's blinking. Now it's green. Man, I hate this stuff where you like have no feedback on what you're doing. I'm gonna pull it out, pull it back in, and then press 10 seconds. Because it blinks shortly in red, and then it doesn't do anything anymore after that. Now it's green. Now it's red. What the fuck, man? Sometimes I hate hardware. Now it's off, and it's all but not blinking. See, but there's stuff happening here. See, I see the plug here. So there's definitely stuff in here happening. I'm just going to like save this and see here it has like all of this information. So I wonder if we can just like decode these logs. So I'm going to save those. Oh, fuck me. Uh, I don't know how to do this with Tmux. Oh, I'm getting tired. How can I tail the logs of Zigbee to MQTT, and can you decode them to see if there are issues with Zig control? You have it running in Tmux, but I'm sure we can tail the logs somewhere. Write an analysis document on how we can decode and watch Zigbee to MQTT's logs and make sure Zig control works. Also by adding a lot of debug logging to Zig control. And then I'm just going to paste some of the logs still. but as an image, since I'm too tired to look up how to do it in Tmux. Store the analysis and design document in the ticket and upload to Remarkable. I definitely am tired because I realize I could dive in, and also I really don't give a shit. I don't like. I would look up how to do things in Tmux, but I'm really just too tired. However, this is stuff I've looked at in the past, and actually would be really cool to have something that decodes and saves this to a database. So actually, it looks like there is a database, but it's just like probably not a logging database. This would be really cool to have as queryable logs for postmortem. So that's why I'm curious to see what it's going to tell us about analyzing the logs. And I'm going to do also analyze if we can store and decode the logs into a SQLite table to query them later on as well. Yeah, I'm just going to say continue. GPT-5 is a little bit too aggressive on following orders, so sometimes I forget continue, and then it just like doesn't continue. I'm not sure if like interrupting it like this or this like experimental enter versus tab is if they really work, because it has such a response latency, right? Like you'll tell it something and codex will take a minute before you see that it kind of like took it into account. So I'm not sure. The issue here is I think the watch, oh, see, the watch worked actually. So that's cool. It's just like because it's doing the structured output, it's like not streaming. I think we can do stream and then watch. So I guess if I do the 10-second stuff here again as well, I guess we can do output. I don't know what the values for output are anymore, man. Like this library that I wrote, I'm I don't even remember how it works. So we do have watch, stream, output, and output can be JSON, SQL template, Markdown. I guess we could do JSON as streaming, right? Like YAML. Let's do YAML. Yeah, there we go. So let me put it into join mode. How long do I have to hold this? Now it's blinking. Now it's blinking. There we go. Okay, cool. The streaming is all not all that like that useful. So we're gonna say like update the playbook to use. I'm just gonna put this back to 60 so that events show up in real time. Also make it a dual command that by default prints out the streaming incoming events in YAML per default. It has connection problems, it looks like. It wrote the full tailing decode analysis document and correlation design. That's interesting. Oh, this is parsing the zigbee to MQTT stuff, right? Oh. So we know that our zig control works. Now we want to design a JavaScript wrapper, right? We're still in our second context window so far, but we have like a pretty extensive CLI now that we can use to loop back. I think decoding the Zigbee to MQTT logs is something that's interesting too, because that's something we'll be able to correlate against the sniffer. So what we're gonna do is like after finishing the permit join, we'll do decoding of the Zigbee to MQTT logs. I don't know if it uploaded them to the remarkable. No, it didn't upload them to the remarkable. When done, upload the analysis documents to the remarkable. I'm gonna press tab, and I think it's gonna queue it all the way at the end. Excuse me. So too bad. I should have uploaded the documents um, before transforming the command, but hopefully it'll go pretty fast. Looks like it has connection problems, so we'll see about that. Is it gonna fail? No. So I think after I have the JavaScript VM, I'm probably gonna stop for tonight. I think that will take us like a half a context window or so. But if codex is having like connection issues, what did our other refactor codex do here, by the way? I don't have high hopes with this one, to be honest. Oh, there's one that's still running. Actually, maybe I should have high hopes. 32 minutes. Testing, not run and not requested. Okay, well, run it. All right. Is it still running? Still running in the first one? Okay, well, the fact that it takes so long, that's like actually interesting. I wonder if it shows up in here. Maybe? Seems like a lot. Who knows? I don't really understand how this whole billing works. But yeah, this is a good sign. Like, what is it doing? You don't really see the diffs, huh? Easily. New parsed layer, get parameter definitions. That doesn't look all that great. No, this is not good. With fields, okay, so that's good, but I should have told them to remove all the aliases. That's not good. Yeah, I wasn't clear enough with my prompt. Let's see, what did it change here? Where are those changes? Yeah, load the diff. See, this is pretty good. This is what I was expecting. So this is all in ttemp, but then here, this is going to be all in package commands layers, huh? Where are they? What's the codegen stuff? I should rip that out. Yeah, it's type aliases, right? So I think this one's like fucked. I don't think this is going anywhere. Oh, I finished here too. Okay, what did it do here? This is maybe. Why can't I look at them? Oh. Oh, this is good. Okay. If there are type aliases for that stuff, left, remove them. Is this going to be for both versions? What's going on here? Oh, so it means I chose this one. Took 50 minutes. That's crazy. Okay, so that's roughly what I expected. It really has connection issues, huh? Oh, it's customizing the output options, not using like a dual command. That's funny. See, that's exactly the stuff that's like hard to build. I'm curious to see if it figures it out. It already rolled over a context window, and it's disconnecting all the time. Maybe this is like a sign that we're nearing the end of the stream. And then what did Manus do for the same task? This is the first time I think I used Manus for this, so I'm not. It did keep a diary though. Interesting. It did create temp as well. Oh, that's cool. Can I create a skill? Create a skill on using doc manager plus diary together. I wonder if that works. So code-based migration anyway. Formally parameters, schema, formally layers, values, initial analysis, automated refactoring, new type name, fixing compilation errors. Oh yeah, I should have just written a script to do that, huh? Alright, this looks sick. Um, that's pretty cool. I wonder how good it is or how much it's lying. But it used Doc Manager, it used Diary. That's really cool. Alright, that's a win for tonight. And then where are we at in our thing over here? Yeah, definitely struggled for that last one. The approach that I chose wasn't the one I had in mind, so I wonder if I like prompted it wrong. Oh, what the fuck? I said make it a dual command. So I thought that that would cause it to do a dual command, but maybe I was confused about glazed commands. Maybe it was in the previous context window and I forgot. No, planning streaming dual command with watch default. So it didn't get there. It did first this like complicated update and now it's doing a dual command. Oh, I see. Because I prompted it, I forgot to remove this, right? Upload the playbook to do this, and then it decided to make these the default. Yeah, this was tired prompting. My fault. Add to my skills. Okay, cool. So that does work too. The skill combines doc manager init, create a ticket with diary. Guess this should be always, huh? Okay, this is not the best, I think. But why not? That's cool. I like that. I like that. All right, so let's see. Is it still like? Yeah, it really is struggling with the glaze stuff. I hope that the new API will help, and then we should get rid of the Cobra confusing Cobra API as well. Because there's already like a parser. Like I could actually just make this a task. I'm gonna write it into my journal. So to show you what I mean by journal, um, I do have a folder called ideas where I have a file for at least a project I've been working on recently. So we do have one for glazed, and I think there's like this refactor mentioned here as well somewhere. So this was from December. The fuck is that? This is not glaze stuff. This is like LLM stuff. This looks like a real journal. That's funny. That was after the Brown shooting. Weird. All right. Okay, so we are today, 2026, February 1st, and review Manus plus codex refactorings of the parameter definition types. So here I think codex was like sticking very close to the instructions, while Manus was a little bit more. I guess they used some of the anthropic models. I don't know. Manus was more aggressive. And then see how complex the migration for third-party users is. And then the other thing we can do, so this is a task that I need to do in green. Then see how complex the refactoring is. So this is maybe refactor skeleton, which I haven't touched in like half a century. So this is also green. And then this is a feature idea, however. It's remove Cobra as default API and use our own flag parser. And this is going to be an idea. And that's going to be orange. Okay. Man, what is it doing? It's like still bugging with the Cobra, huh? It really is an issue. Because I think it forgot to read its documentation. What are you struggling with? Backfill your diary, write a full report on what was problematic, and still is with glazed. That's weird. Like sometimes it just like works like that, and then sometimes it doesn't. So that's really a sign that my framework is not good. Um, Save in doc manager, be very detailed. Upload to Remarkable, and I suspect is that it forgot to read, and it doesn't have a skill. I think that's my hunch of what's happening here. Um, so I wonder because there's like a whole bunch of skills that would be relevant for glazed, and I don't know if I want to add them all at once or if I should be doing a skill that pulls them in. Could also be interesting. Um, I don't know when they start getting confused about skills, to be honest. Maybe I should just push it to the max and then see what happens. I don't know. I'm always a bit wary of these things. But clearly this is not good either. Like the fact that it went 15% without doing anything useful is really not good. Really problematic. Really problematic. Man, it's disconnecting all the fucking time as well. That's like annoying. So maybe we won't get to the JavaScript. Maybe this like last little attempt to do something. I don't know what it's struggling with. Like it must have forgotten something as the context fell over. I'm gonna have it backfill the diary. I'm gonna start a new context window. This is I don't know what this garbage is. Um, Maybe I should have created this skill up front. I think it's maybe a good point to stop the stream. We have like a full CLI suite to at least interact with the Zigbee to MQTT. I think we're not far from a JavaScript VM, but maybe it's like 2 hours in, and I'm not the freshest to start with. It feels like, um, see, I really don't know if this is like bad or not. If it's because it doesn't have an example program to look from. But if I were to do a skill, I kind of want to really go over the skill and validate it because it's something I use so often. I think um, this was the point where I'm like, no, this stop. This has to be fixed. I'm going to reuse this so often over the next couple of weeks and days that I'm going to start here. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to read the post-mortem of all of this at breakfast tomorrow, and I'll be fresh. I'll understand how to build what APIs to refactor, um, how to write the skill, and then spend the time to really validate that skill with like different prompts that I use over time, and then hopefully that will be fixed once and forever. I'll do the JavaScript VM part right after that. Make a skill for that. That way, I have this progression from like compare it to an existing program or have some kind of feedback loop with shell scripts to go CLI to JavaScript VM, and then we can wrap it all in this like web IDE I did, and basically start using that for JavaScript log parsing, JavaScript smoke tests, all of that stuff. And hopefully at this point, like everything starts to be really one-shotable. Um, yeah, because I think what I struggle the most with right now is really like the logistics of this command line stuff, which is really no biggie at all. Um, So it seemed it worked, right? Like it just did it. Removing the zigbee layer from subcommands breaks decoding since the layer provides necessary parameter decoding. Yeah, it really needs like an example CLI to copy to inspire itself from. I think it's just missing from the documentation. That could very well be it. I'm actually going to do that. Am I going to use Pinocchio? Yeah. Oh, where was that? Look at on how to register layers in Cobra commands and pass them for subcommands too. I think it's called get Geppetto layers, get Geppetto middlewares, maybe and write and update your documents accordingly and write playbook for next time. I have a suspicion of why it went wrong and why it usually goes right is that in this case I had no Go program to use and the documentation itself is not complete enough. So I will really put some effort on this tomorrow to have a skill that is repeatable. Basically try to use the skill like 10 times over and make sure it one shots 10 times. Or not 10 times, but like some variation to really make sure that I don't need to rely on some other repo being checked out nearby um, and the agent finding it. Um, Here in this case, I do tell it to look into a repo nearby so that it's able to at least correct itself and it will know how to correct itself and will add that to its diary and to its report. And then we'll see. So biggest struggles right now about glazed output defaults and layer semantics, not Corsic control behavior, figuring out the correct under-documented API to set per comment output defaults. Yeah, so I can't access in this mode. Why can't you? The environment blocks escalated access. Why I thought you have full approval. Try again. Yeah, maybe I should just stop at this point. Um, load the example tools into the repo. But now it's able. So this was like a codex bug right now because I had to stop it. I think when the context window rolls over, the approvals reset, even though it doesn't tell you. Um, let's see how it finishes that. I think that's going to be pretty good for me to look at breakfast tomorrow. Because that's really when I'm freshest and when I have like the most insight into how to cut like Gordian knots. It's really weird. Like I have this sunk cost fallacy about these frameworks because I've been working on them for like 4 years. And I know they're shit and they don't work well with LLMs. And also I I'm so sentimentally attached to them as like my last human written software. It's really weird. Um, so I'm carrying them along because I don't want to rewrite them, even though I wouldn't know how to rewrite them, even though I know that if I rewrote them, it'd probably be one shot in like a couple of prompts instead of spending hours and days. But they're family heirlooms, so because like names like this, build Cobra command with Geppetto middlewares. That's like a horrible name for LLMs. Should be just called like build command or something like that. Maybe in a Cobra package or something like this. Should just be Pinocchio build command. Um, yeah, Geppetto helper slug. I don't know. They're this like whole configuration setup flags, all of that stuff has always been tricky. I don't know if it's even necessary actually. Maybe I should kill all this stuff and just take it like a pre-configured profile and model name. That's probably the easiest actually. That's maybe the thing that cuts through all the complexity. Um, yeah, that makes so much sense. Why didn't I realize this? Because Geppetto is really from the early days of like GPT-3 or 2. So it really has configurable context window size and request tokens and like stop pattern and log prob requests, like stuff that I never use. And if I were to use it, I would have like some way of doing it. So really all I care about is like a profile name. And so most commands that have to do with, say, Geppetto, for example, really should just know about the profile. So I could really like simplify a bunch there. I don't know how it wouldn't matter for zig control though. We'll see. I'll think about this where maybe historically I needed a lot of configuration buttons and now I don't need to anymore. And I think LLM config, API type, API provider, all of that should be hidden behind profiles now. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All right, I kind of really want to have this like JavaScript thing. Are there things to change in zig control now that you know that? And then I'm going to ask it to go over. So nothing must change in zig control, but there are a few optional improvements. Add a small wrapper. Okay, no, I don't want to. So look at and do a detailed research and design work to build a great JS API to the zig control functionality so that we can write powerful JS scripts. Propose different approaches, study each in depth with code examples and API references, design decisions and pros, paragraphs, bullet point list, code and pseudocode, diagrams. Very detailed, store in the ticket and then upload to Remarkable. So I'm going to design the JavaScript API for this. And then tomorrow we're going to build the JS VM, which is going to be mostly pretty fucking trivial, I think. And then we'll attach that to a REPL. Then maybe we'll start adding the web ID, make a skill for that, make a skill for the JavaScript API implementation, and then we can start sniffing and decoding things using JavaScript scripts. I think that'd be pretty interesting. Then maybe programming something like I don't know, when a new device joins the network, turn the light on and off or something stupid like this. Or maybe really start working on our firmware. But I think we won't get to the firmware tomorrow. Gonna work 2 more hours. I feel like I lost the context window on this like glazed bullshit. We're at 2.5 context windows. We also have to add the sniffing commands. I feel there's some fuck shit going on here where it's just like, I mean, I'm sure it forgot uh, half of his info about glazed, and then also, um, oh, I should have done a skill at this point. Well, we'll see. The JavaScript API design shouldn't be too hard for the model. It's pretty straightforward usually. Right, because JavaScript as an abstraction is fairly well known as a language, and then attaching that to the existing already modularized functionality is really just a matter of saying like these models are now uh, accessible by JavaScript, and because they've been written in Go, which is conceptually very close to JavaScript, registering the Go to the JavaScript is like not crazy. Like if it were to be like concurrent stuff, and some of it is, then it like obviously becomes a little bit more complicated because the Go abstraction is different from the JavaScript abstraction. But otherwise, connecting something from a host into a child interpreter is usually like register the function console to be called console. Like it's a very one to one kind of mapping. Which makes it all very weird, right? Like, because the lowest level of our modules are just like calling protocol messages, right? It's just like sending out an MQTT message of a certain type. So that's also trivial because it makes it the method hello is just like the thing that sends the message hello. Um, so at each abstraction layer, from like protocol to CLI command, or like protocol to Go code to CLI command, and then Go code slash CLI command to JavaScript, it's like it always looks like just saying, if you call console, then call this Go module called console that calls the protocol console, right? Like you're like, where's the actual work being done? And all the work is kind of being done in these connections, because now I can write a program that just prints out stuff in all kinds of varieties on the console just by exposing this one protocol message, right? Um, However, the JavaScript, as powerful as it is as a full-featured programming language, cannot do anything except call console, right? Like all the rest is just going to be, sure, it can burn CPU, it cannot terminate, but that's fine. We just put a timeout on it, right? So despite having all this power of JavaScript available, it's very, very contained. And I think that's what makes it such a useful tool for LLMs, is that I give the LLM full free range, except it cannot do anything that I don't tightly control. Which is I can debounce the console. I can like block it if it's outputting too often. I can just like elide things. Uh, I could replace the console output with a SQLite output like JavaScript won't know. So I can do all kinds of like really interesting things here. So when done, create a detailed skill on creating all kinds of glazed commands. Now that we really went through it, for a refresher, also consult zcorp and then glazed, and then and um, now that we were successful, we want to create a great skill for the future. All right, so we're creating the thing here, and then we do have the JavaScript document that was just uploaded. Um, so that JavaScript document, did it upload it to projects? Yes, it did. So we can go to projects, 2026, 01st Zigbee, and then we should have the JavaScript design. Um, so here, if I review, no, yes. No, so this would be writing MQTT and then re-implementing it all in JavaScript. Yeah, no, none of these are good. Like, I don't know. I thought it would propose different Goja APIs. Functional, non-functional. Error should be JS expressions. Must support long-running scripts without blocking the host. Oh, those are all requirements. Okay. Engine new, require new registry, modules enable all. Uh, okay. Native zig control requires zig control connect, bridge input devices, permit join, streaming, and then can I have permit join watch? Result plus optional stream. Yeah, so this is, yeah, I like option A. Why is more go work? Uh, why? This looks like the clean one to me. No, no. Option A baseline. Yep, 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 yep. Okay. Um, create a new ticket 0070 Zigbee JS runtime and move the design doc in there and create a detailed implementation plan in that doc and then create tasks in detail and then start implementing, checking off task, writing the frequent diary, committing to Git, moving on. All right. I don't know why I'm starting to implement this, and then I always have this like I shouldn't press escape. I should upload this skill to the tablet as well. Too late. But I think I'm going to wrap up the screen here. We have the JS runtime. That will be fun tomorrow to pick up. And then for me, it's also going to be fun to pick up something where um, the really cool part is hopefully working. I know that this will probably take, it won't be too much. Like, I think this will end up at, all right, well, I'm going to call it 45%. Let's see. Man, I said I wouldn't wait, but now I'm waiting because I made a placed a bet. So I'm still addicted to it. But also pretty chilling. So I created a new ticket, right? It moved the ticket over, it moved the document over. It's updating the front matter to link it to the new ticket. So still logistics. There's a doc manager ticket move or doc move, which it could have used and probably isn't in the skill or something like that. Or I mean, this is the third context window, so maybe there's like some rotting happening. Overall, I found the OpenAI stuff. Maybe it's just a diary that I have that's good, or compaction starts to become like a solved problem. It's crazy that the web codex I launched like ran for 50 minutes and seems to have done a pretty. Actually, I was too careful. It's the Manus one that was good. So maybe I'll use Manus for that stuff in the future. Could be interesting. Uh, So it's adding the implementation plan for option A. It's like disconnecting so often. It's crazy. Crazy. It's reconnecting so often. I don't know, man. All right, cool. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Um, I said I bet it would be 45% when finished. We'll see. It's maybe a little bit optimistic, but so just as a reminder, we're 2.5 context windows, and we have a full featured CLI to do MQTT, Zigbee MQTT. We can join with our power plug. We have a JavaScript VM design. We have a Glaze skill. We struggled a bit with the output parameter defaults, which was kind of my fault. It misinterpreted it. I saw it and then I didn't stop it. And I was kind of curious to see where it would go. Hopefully the new skill like kind of fixes that. I should test the new skill also on its own, see if it works. So now it's creating the tickets. Those are kind of like fucking boring tasks. Yeah, maybe that's good. Smoke test script, runbook, update. Yep. So that's cool. There's maybe some async stuff to be reviewed here, but we still have the sniffing stuff to do as well. Which I guess I could work tree now. Never really played with work trees to do that kind of stuff in parallel. I kind of don't want to have to deal with a merge, to be honest. I'm sure it's an important workflow, but I'll get to it later. Man, these reconnects are like nasty. I want to see now if there's if it's gonna be 45%. But if there's gonna be too many disconnects, I'll just stop it. I really wish you could have like a little tokens per second counter that's spinning. Tell you how fast the inference is. You know, like in a taxi. We have the running fare. Then you're just sitting at a red light, seeing your fare go up just like this. Alright, if this one times out, I'm calling it. Damn. No, not in the Goja. Not in Goja. The JS stuff is in Zig control 2. Go Goja is just the source of the third-party module to use in addition to Goja. So these are the kinds of things, if you don't catch them, you can really make a big boo-boo. And like all of the inference from there, some of it can be maybe recoverable. But that's why I kind of don't like the parallel stuff at all. It's just too easy with the power the models have these days of missing stuff like that. Um, and missing stuff like that is just like really, really, really expensive. I find it's just like you usually have to throw it all away and then just start because you can get like misled into like trying to salvage it, and then you have these like big merge conflicts, and they just like kind of just take so much more time than just doing it fresh, right? Because I think this is going to be 45% context window. I don't know why, but it's my gut feeling. And then it's like, okay, well, that was 15% context window. Like, a merge is just going to be like way, way more. Man, it's really like fucking slow today, isn't it? And bad network wise. Because now it's gonna, right? Because I said codex has like a long time to like start up its thinking, and it's just gonna like shit out all the code at once. So it's always a bit misleading. You're like, it's really, really slow. It's been like doing nothing for like 5 minutes, and we're not even at like 2% in, and then it's just gonna shit out everything in one go. And I think that's like kind of what's going to happen here. It's gonna like bump down to like 52 or so, and then it's gonna barf out all the files, maybe do 1 or 2 rounds of validation, and then it'll be done. It's like my guess. So now we're stuck having to watch this. Um, I might be wrong. Like maybe it'll just like go past 45, never work, everything will be broken. But I think uh, the concurrency stuff that it's building, I've seen that pattern multiple times. This guy here. I think it might be in the examples of Go Go Goja. I'm not sure how good this pattern is. I think it's just like stealing it from a file that it finds in there. Um, we'll see in the diary where it finds stuff from. Maybe I'll add this as well to my journal. So journal-wise, I am going to, for tomorrow, what are we going to do? So the first thing we're going to validate is for tomorrow. So just to show you what I'm doing, I'm writing this for tomorrow. First thing is JSVM in zig control 45% context window. Then we have to do implement sniffing CLI. Make JS VM skill. So those are all things to do. Make JS VM skill and then test, validate, glazed skill, JS VM skill. Then we do have eval manus glazed refactor, and then we can do simplify Geppetto layers, since they're actually just like counterproductive anyway. Load from profile. And I think that's it, maybe, to start with. It's quite a bit. Okay, where's this dude going? Oops. JS runtime module setup, and I think now it's just going to go like sweep. And I said 52%, 53, baby. Kind of knew it. Now it's going to write a Go file, and then it's just going to go like that. Yep. 52%. So I find it kind of funny of trying to predict the number of tokens it's going to use. See, it got to 51% before I started writing, but it's also more like, it's a good way for me to gauge how good my gut feel of the model is, because when it starts to deviate, I pick up on it pretty quickly, right? It's like I try to have this like way of validating my gut feeling of knowing a model well. Um, so adding Go module dependency with local replace option. Hmm. I don't think it needs to, but I don't think that's like too much of a problem either. Goja, and it's at the same point as main. It was 7 months ago that the last time I touched this. That's crazy. That was such a different time. So it's at 51%. Come on, write your first Go file. You did write Go mod. Now it's time to get writing. 50%. Damn. I wonder if the disconnection cost us in terms of inference cost and tokens. Man, oh, it's using glazed for registering the JS command. Sure, why not? Why does it have to read all of this again? Because it just wrote a skill. Oh, because it found JS run.go and Goja. Oh, and it found the REPL command in Goja. Interesting. Is there a REPL command in Goja? Yeah, there's a REPL, that's why. Look at that. That's it, that's all there is. Oh, that's a shitty REPL. That's amazing. I have a much better one now. Oh, look at that. It's literally like a for loop. That's funny. That's funny. Okay, so now it's writing the source code, right? And I knew it would start around 50%. And I think it's going to be done by 45%. I haven't seen it compact the context window for a while. Maybe it's like too subtle to realize it. Maybe it only does it at like big testing outputs or when you interrupt it. Not sure. I'm not sure when it compacts. I think it's like a, an API command now, though. This is really interesting. All right, what is the config? So this is maybe where I could start looking at the code, right? Config go and zig control mod, and I kind of start to see what's like going on here. Settings from value, zigbee settings. That's the settings struct. It's filling it from the hash map. Defaults, default config, settings, and then it extracts it from the JavaScript struct. Watch options from value, in from map, will from map. This is kind of code that we could move to Goja, so I'm going to add that as a task. Expand Goja with JS VM helpers, C config dot go. So I'm writing this in here. C config dot go in zig control mod. And this is related to the JS skill as well. So let's see. What else did it build here? A client, close, bridge info, and then I guess it's going to register all of those into the JS VM and the runtime here. Are these used anywhere? Not yet. So those will probably be used in a bit. Oops, what did I do? No, that's not what I wanted. I want go restart language server. Runtime client.go zig control mod.go. It still is fighting its disconnections, huh? Yeah, so here it registers them all, right? And this code is like pretty much, as you can see, it's like set the close to function close, set bridge info to bridge info, set devices to devices, and like the concurrency of it is like a little bit more warped. I am not fully sure how to do this actually. Think slash chat GPT pro how to tackle context dot background, and again I'm here background in JS runtime, and those really warrant like some kind of at least human validation orchestration, even if ChatGPT Pro does the work, because these things are really subtle. Like if those break and then it just like throws agent loops through the winds, um, to make it easy to tear down servers background JS tasks, because I'm going to build more and more on top of JS. And then of course, if I have servers that run in the background, do all kinds of like async stuff, I want to be able to kill them easily, especially if I do have like JS sandbox controls. We're at 45% context size. I said I would be at from 52 to 50, so maybe we'll get there. It's adding the commands, the REPL. Like I think we're really at the end. I think my 45-ish thing, 43 with the over, um, with like the oversize that we had before, um, we might end up at 43. So 2.5 context windows. We have a JavaScript VM. See, this is the root. So this is probably the last edit that it's going to do. Now it's going to try to compile, maybe have like syntax error or two. Let's see. There's quite a few actually. What is going on here? It's just a package. Goja is not in your mod file. Okay, so this is just a tidy kind of thing. Now it's adding a couple of scripts. So yeah, called it 44%. Now it's adding the JavaScript. Hopefully these are more like language server issues than real thing. Like there's a context package too much. These are too many packages that are not needed. The zig control module here is not registered, so that's like a little bit weird. But those are stuff that it will probably be able to figure out. There's also like includes there are too eager, and then in the REPL here, also eager imports. That's something that GPT-5 does pretty often, and then Go format or whatever removes them. It's doing the Go mod tidy. Gonna clean up the imports. 43%. It wrote like a couple of test JavaScripts, which we can have a look at, because this is where I wanted to get to, right? It's like being able to write stuff like this, because now I can kind of like one-shot stuff, like turn the light off and then wait 40 seconds and turn the light back off, and it will write like a 200 token JavaScript file that's like really, really nice. It's really readable, can easily tweak it. It's very safe because it cannot do anything except MQTT. And I can start writing really complex debugging scripts with it, which will help as we go forward investigating more, right? And I can write, especially I can write like, not just like log parsers or stuff like that, but I can say like, hey, wait until this appears in the logs and then send this command. But if that command fails, then go back to waiting for the logs, like all kinds of crazy stuff that will end up, in a very readable format where It's easier to read than shell scripts. It's more robust than shell scripts. It's much safer than shell scripts. Um, it's very repeatable. I have full control over the logging of the inputs and outputs and the bindings. Like it's just a really nice pattern to do stuff. And as you've seen, it's like a lot of buildup, right? Like we've been at it for 4 hours, and now I can one shot like half of the features you would like to do with. I mean, we're not there yet, but with the commands I have already, right? And especially all the tooling around the JavaScript itself. I've got many versions of different features, but they're all like kind of janky. Now I want to really like tighten them up and make them reusable. Um, those are valid for any kind of JavaScript, right? Be it running on the device, being running it in the browser, running on in a server. I have this like task independent, really rich tooling that I can then just bang on it, right? Slap on this JavaScript VM that I have here, and I'll show you an example of that, which is then using the Boba T REPL. So Boba T is another package of mine that's also up to date, and so once we have that here, I'm gonna let it like test. Uh, update the doc references, commit changes, and then maybe run the runbook to make sure everything compiles and works correctly. If you need me to pair the power plug, then stop and ask me to. Otherwise, move on. I mean, I guess if I'm already here and the JavaScript seems to be going, might as well continue. What I will do is, after making sure that this works by just asking it to validate, right? And because it's hardware, because we're controlling this power plug down here, let me show it. Because we're controlling this power plug with Zigbee, I'm reasonably sure that it's not inventing stuff, right? Like if I hear the power plug going on and off, I know that it works for real. Which is nice compared to just like looking at things on the screen where you're like not sure if it's the database is correctly running or stuff like that. Like having hardware and not having to think about ways the model could deceive me is pretty nice. And so what is it doing? The smoke test? Okay, interesting. Because it timed out. Why would it need so long? Interesting. I wonder if like there's something tragically bad about the JavaScript VM now. I don't think so. We'll see. 47% context. See that's where it compacted is like after writing the diary, it often compacts. But we were down to 42%, which was roughly what I said we'd be at. I said 45, but then we overdid it by 2%. And then we'll probably have, we went back to 48, right? To 47. I think we'll have, this looks not good. But I wonder if it's doing like a permit join. What is the JS runtime smoke here? It's running join watch. And then join watch is doing, oh, it's doing a 60-second thing. Okay, so that makes sense. And it would actually ask me to do, oh, so now it finished, right? Which is expected without device pairing. I should have done a pairing here. So add a script that waits for pairing and then toggles the plug every 5 seconds. Stop before running it. So now it's going to add stuff to Git, which is cool. I'm going to ask it now to write a script to test that not only the device pairing works, but that it's able to toggle the plug. Just as an example of like how easy it is to like now just prompt functionality. Because like now that I have this like zig control JavaScript VM, and especially as I will build it out, like at the end for every application, I just like use this JavaScript VM. So like, hey, here's like a little JavaScript library, just build whatever, except that it controls real hardware. Is really small, is really safe. Has all this like additional tooling. I'll show you by adding the REPL. Hopefully this the watch join will work easily enough. Um, and then hopefully by 40% we'll have like a full REPL. So let's see. And these like disconnects are annoying because I can tell that they really slow things down. I wouldn't expect this to have taken 21 minutes. All right. So it's planning the pairing wait toggle script, see, and then it's going to one shot something that, I mean, one shot. It's just going to write 15 lines of code, and that will be good. Which is exactly what I want, even though it's like a fairly complex feature, right? In the big scheme of things. But our code is really fucking tight, right? Like that's the other thing. The code base is like it's almost just like wrapping wrappers like config. So this is something where I can do reusable stuff. Like this is a little bit too much code. That's, you know, string from map, like just like basic stuff. Watch the watch stream is interesting. That one I will look like a little bit more closely because client subscribe. It doesn't have, what is this even? MQTT Golang. Yeah, so this stuff I kind of want to have watermelon here. So that's something else I'll write down in my journal is use watermelon for MQTT JS internal async work, because events are nice in a JavaScript thing because it's just like callback handlers. Um, so it's easy to integrate and it's a well-known pattern instead of trying to fuck around with like iterators or like await or whatever. Just like do callbacks on events. Can always like plug async on top of it. All right, so we're adding all of this stuff. It added our script, right? Wait pair toggle JS. So this is kind of what I wanted to build up to with all of this. It's like now, oh, it even gets like the control arguments. That's amazing. So now it's going to connect. It's going to watch. Then it's going to wait for the stream rate. Like this is where maybe we could have like a callback API kind of thing. And then it's going to do this little thing over here. So how am I going to run it? So zig control JS run. So this is going to be, let me go here. I kind of want to run it by hand. So this is going to be go run zig control JS run ctem 2026-0201-070 scripts 02 pair wait toggle. And then arg mqtt localhost 884 arg zigbee to mqtt arg office plug. The arg is funny, but log level debug. And then we're going to put this in pairing mode. Actually, let's start it. Cannot find. Oh, what am I doing? Oh, it doesn't have log level? That's funny. Huh. Alright, well, whatever. Invalid module. The fuck? Oh. Oops. And now I'm going to put it into pairing mode. Anytime now. I don't know how this plug works. Now it's blinking. Once more. Now it's blinking. Now it did a bridge event, huh? Device leave. So it's blinking. But here it says the device left. It's blinking red, which should mean Zigbee pairing mode, permit join. So maybe it's not in the permit join mode. Because that, however, worked with the permit join, right? Oh, man. Go run bridge broker, permit join, stream, watch. Permit join for 120, and now it worked, right? So there's something in the JavaScript that didn't work when calling permit join. So permit join worked when called with CLI bridge broker, but not from the JS. Also, I want to see more logging from the JS. So first make a test script to test the logging, then make a test script that console prints things real time, like during permit join, just like, and what was the command we had? So yeah, so the JavaScript is not working. I kind of expected that. I would surmise that we'll need 5% context window with some significant manual labor. Where was the permit join? Was that it? All right. I think the next 5% are not going to be all too fun, and I might have to call it. Hey, Nickadoodle, Zigbee is like a protocol to control LED lights and like power plugs and like kind of like little internet connected devices. And I'm building just some tooling so that LLMs can work better with it. And also so I can build like a little MQTT kind of hub from this device here. But I had problems with the crypto of it. So now I'm building tools to debug that kind of stuff. So that's where we're at. And ChatGPT is disconnecting quite a bit. And it's like we've been in for 3 hours. So maybe this is time to call it. Like my 45% context window after the compaction, we're still there. I suspect the next 5% are going to be debugging stuff. And I don't think I have a debugging brain right now. I kind of already don't like what I'm seeing right now, where it's starting to add more outputs. I don't think that's great. But I don't know what C log F should be. I mean, it's fine. That's maybe something to add as well as like go Goja console library. I think there's already one, but use that or better design. It's basically starting to clean up all this JavaScript VM registration since it's coming up over and over again. Come on, ChatGPT. Come on, OpenAI. I swear, any of those that fails entirely, I'm stopping. Will it fail? Will it catch itself? It caught itself, of course. Yeah, because now it's passing this debug flag everywhere. I mean, it's just to the client, I guess. It's not that bad. Now it's going to test the logging. So, right, because I did like maybe a little bit too much at once with the JavaScript here. It's going to test the logging. It's going to test printing events. And then it's going to test the try join with like toggling the relay. The permit join is kind of like a tricky one, right? Because you're sending something, then you have to wait. But while you're waiting, events come in. It'd be great to see those in real time, but then still like collect the end of it. So I knew that part would be like a little bit more challenging. I'm also not sure that the API is the best, but I wanted to get that one in to be able to sleep on it, and maybe a better idea will come up. Man, the disconnection is kind of like annoying. But yeah, with the compaction, you can really hold out for a long, long time. That's pretty cool. Although I think it did cycle over some knowledge about glazed. So it didn't test them, huh? Because now it's doing the documentation management. I mean, if it were able to reconnect, Jesus. Every tool call is doing that, huh? Every tool call we're spending 10 seconds. It's going to catch itself. No, no. Oh, I might be going to bed. Yep. All right. That's it for tonight. I'm not going to fight the like constant disconnections. Makes it for something a bit tedious. But we made some good progress. We have some kind of JavaScript going. We have pretty much control over this stuff here. We do see like debug messages. We see the right power plug. We get them from Go. As such, the JavaScript shouldn't struggle too much. The async infrastructure or like the async pattern for the JavaScript will become a little bit more apparent tomorrow. I think this is stream next. I don't know. Is this a good idea? I don't know if that. I don't think the stream thing is all that great. I don't know, man. It's always hard to say. I think like having an event bus for sure would help, but streams maybe, why not? Um, and then this is gonna be pretty fun. Gonna add, sorry, gonna add some more logging. Exec run sleep. That's funny. I'm gonna add that as well. Add sleep plus other fundamentals. stdlib. Maybe timers. Create timeout. All right, and then we'll build the sniffing. We'll have the sniffing and the whole thing in the JavaScript. We'll probably have a REPL. And then I think hopefully we can debug this crypto stuff. But like the crypto stuff debugging was more pretext to build all of this JavaScript stuff, because I do expect to then be able to say like, hey, figure out what the fuck was going on. Even though the what the fuck is going on is going to actually be a firmware on this guy, right? Like that thing is buggy on here, But now that I have a tool to sniff and I've been able to test the sniffer with something that's a little bit more robust, which is Linux to MQTT, Zigbee to MQTT on Linux, that will validate the sniffer. Now I can take the sniffer to validate the firmware, and as such, I have feedback loops that like verify each other as we go, right? And all of those are rooted in basically me having a physical plug um, that I can fuck with, and I also have like light bulbs, so that might be another one that I play with as a Zigbee device. And then after that, it goes into the embedded firmwares where I can't trust because both the receiving side and the other side is going to be controlled by the same LLM, so I can't really trust too much of how it might fake itself, except through validated feedback loops. Um, all right. Anyway, that was it for tonight, and tomorrow I'll continue the Zigbee adventure.